Well, here we are. Thoughts from the office. Redneck's Pride Outdoors. A lot of folks are using our deer stuff too, and some folks are using our bear stuff. And I think the biggest difficulty that most people are having is not the bear or the deer getting on it and eating it. It's the hunter puts it down wrong. And no matter what I say, if you read the directions, and no matter how many times I talk to hunters, I still see them doing things that, although would be very good for me, the manufacturer, meaning the more you use, the more money I make. The products, both deer stuff too and bear stuff, was made and formulated for a certain behavior, if you will. And what I find is most hunters look at deer stuff too and bear stuff as a bait. And yes, they do eat it. And yes, they do like it. And they just continue to just tear into it. But the formulation and the process that I made it for was not as a bait, but as an attractant. And what I mean by that is this: I didn't make it to be used so that the deer or the bear will camp out on the product. But in fact, I made it so that the bear or the deer will come in and spend 5-10 minutes at the most and walk off. I don't want them to be on the product forever and ever. And one of the problems is they will. If it's not done properly, the stinking deer and the bear will camp out on it. One old boy years ago said to me, "Jonesy, you need to call this deer drugs or deer cocaine." And I said I would, but it's already been called. Other stuff has already been called that name, so I can't use it. But the fact is that once the bear or once the deer get on it, they like it. So when I'm talking to folks on how to use the product the proper way, as a manufacturer, I wouldn't mind if you use a whole bag every time you use it. The problem with that is the animal is going to camp out on it, and you're never going to get into your tree stand or your blind. That's simple. Made that mistake many times for myself. Put too much down because I was lazy. Couldn't figure out how to get in there without deer always on the deer stuff. So here's in a nutshell what I did. I made the product so that it was an attractant, meaning yes, they like it, yes, they want to eat it, the same as you would a lollipop, or the same as you would a snack. All right, and you'll like it, you'll want to eat it, but you don't want to be on it. You don't want, a full 5-course dinner of lollipops. So once we apply it, after we apply it, what the intent of the product is to create a habit for the animal to come in and investigate it and check it out and dig around and nose around and lick around, okay, and then to leave. And then only to come back again an hour later, 2 hours later, to see if there's any more there. When you think of this product, you cannot think of it as a bait pile. What do you do with a bait pile? You go in with your 5-gallon buckets, your 100-pound bags of corn, or you fill your feeder up, and you're feeding the animal. I'm not feeding the animals. I'm snacking the animals. I'm giving them a treat, if you will. So when I say to go in, and I tell them for deer, I prefer a rotted log. You can dig it into the soil, and if you are going to put it into the soil, like out in the field or something like that, you got to loosen the soil up, 3-4 inches. And I used to say 18-inch diameter circle. People was going out there with tape measures and rulers. So just make a stupid circle, 3 to 4 inches, loosen soil. Put a quarter of a bag of deer stuff too, or if you're in that type of a scenario where bears, a quarter of a bag of bear stuff into the soil and mix it into the soil pretty good. Then take the other quarter of a bag, which now that's going to take you to the halfway bag, the halfway part, and put that right on top. Now that's the start. Give it 3 to 5 days, go back in, and if they're hitting it, take a quarter of a bag, roughly a quart amount. If you get Chinese soup, that's a quart. Just pour that on top of that soil. You see, what we're trying to do is, and if it rained that night that you put it down, it's even better. Or if it rains, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the product into the ground. Why? Simple. As long as the smell is there, they will keep digging for it. So the first time you put it down, you use a quarter of a bag into the loose soil, mix it in, take the other quarter of a bag, put it on top of the loose soil, come back 3 to 5 days later, reapply about a quart of product, and every 7 days, and I know a few guys every 10 days, but as a hunter, I'm going to tell you about every 5 to 7 days. As the manufacturer, every 3 days. Okay? You got plenty of it. Just keep ordering it. And what you're doing is you're creating the habit for the animal to come in, nose around, dig around, try to find it. The smell is there. They like it. They want more of it, but there's not. So after 5 or 10 minutes of it, they get up and they walk away. Which opens up another door for other deer or bears to come in. One of the things I've noticed this year on our videos, is the doe, the dominant doe is being very, a lot of them are being very aggressive around it, and they're actually keeping the other deer from coming in on them. If you have a dominant doe there. If you have, I've seen as many as 7 does licking at the same spot. But that was typically all younger does. It wasn't a dominant one. If you get a dominant one in there, she'll rear up and she'll kick and lay her ears back and the whole kit and caboodle. So the soil is one way to do it. My preferred way is for deer would be the rotted log, the type of log that you kick it and all that, and it pulverizes into like a peat moss type material, real pulpy material. And what I'll do is I'll break that up pretty good, and then I'll put a quarter of a bag of deer stuff or bear stuff, a quarter of a bag on that log or into that log, mix it into the wood fibers, and then put the other quarter of a bag on top of that. And then from that point on, every 5 to 7 days, apply about a quart. So applying it like that for deer, essentially it's a 5-pound bag or a 1-gallon bag. You're going to get 4 baitings, which essentially is 4 weeks, roughly. Okay. After you get it started. The first time you get it started, I tell people do the half a bag first, and then you'll have 2 more quarter bag treatments, which will give you approximately 3 weeks when you're first starting it, and then from that point on it'll be quarter of a bag every 5 to 7 days. If you want the deer or bear there more, then you add more. The problem is they will sit there, and I have had deer on it for, not exaggerating, 3 hours, just pawing and licking, pawing and licking, pawing and licking. You see, it's not a food. They're not filling up with it. It's a snack. It's a lollipop. It's a Jello pudding. It's something like that. Okay, so it's not a food that they're going to fill up on. And the reason you want them coming on a regular basis is once you create that habit of them coming in, every time they're in that area, they will come to investigate it. And people will say, well, how long will they stay on it? Well, they only stay a minute or two. I'm happy with that. I just want them to come on in, check it out, and leave. I don't want them hanging there. I don't want eyes looking around. I don't want them being there 15, 20 minutes so my smell takes a chance on spinning and hitting them. I want them coming in. I want to check it out. I want to go. I mean, how much time do I need to kill a deer? Plus, the more deer you get in on it, or bear, if you're using bear stuff, the more bear you get in on it, the more odor of the other animals are there, the more that animal is calm when they come in, and makes things easier. On bears, my preferred method is, although I'll have a stump, I want a pretty good a log, I would rather it be a stump. And I've seen where an old stump was maybe, 12, 24 inches in diameter, rotted out, the middle of it's rotted out, and it's breaking down pretty good. And we put the bear stuff down in that pulverized particles inside that stump, and I come back, they come back, and that stump is gone. Now, bear hunters are worse than deer hunters because they are so used to putting in 55 gallons of bear baits. And the bears are sitting there rolling it around and all that stuff. And I tell guys, what you do is you have your bear bait going, but don't put this stuff at the bear bait. Come off to the side and put it on a stump, put it on a log. That way, the bear demolishes the stump, demolishes the log. You come back in 5 to 7 days, you put more down, the same way you did it with a deer. You put more down, and usually by the second bag, they've got a habit to where they're coming in, and they're going to stay. Them stupid bears will stay longer than deer. They will lay down, and they will just sit there like a pig in the mud, and then just chew on that wood fiber. Okay? And again, the more bears you get in there, the more bears you get digging at that, the more bear scent you have there. You definitely want the bears to come in and leave. In and leave. You get a great big old boar in there, and he's camped out on it. Your subdominant bucks, boars, bears may not come in. Or you get a sow with cubs, she will definitely take over if it's there. And if she takes over, well, you know, now you're sitting there watching an hour, 2 hours of a bear laying down eating at the wood, and you have no intentions of shooting it, and that's just a waste of time for me. I've never hunted bear like that. I mean, I've hunted bear, but I've never killed a bear. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never killed a bear, but my products work like crazy across this country. People are using my products for the bear. Maybe I shouldn't have sold you that, but I ain't going to lie to you. I'm in South Jersey. We have a bear come through every 2 years. North Jersey's got the big bears to run up there and all that. But I tell you what, there's folks who's using my products. Probably be on a couple TV shows this coming year. Hopefully they will be. And there's some old boys using my bear products, and they're killing bears. So, just wanted to give you a brief overview of Deer Stuff 2 and Bear Stuff. Dry attractant. It's not a bait. Don't think of it as a bait. Think of it as a snack. Read the directions on the label and use it that way. I know we all want to see the animals camped out on it, but we don't. We just want them coming in, boom, heading out. Well, there you are. Thoughts from the office, Redneck's Pride Outdoors. I'll talk to you later. Deer Stuff 2 and Bear Stuff. See ya.